The following program is produced by Laura K. Henderson, Michael Ray Helms, and Jen Hebben, under the direction of executive producer Laura K. Henderson and the board of All Ears Theater, with funding provided by the Irving S. Gilmore Foundation. All Ears Theater. Listen as All Ears Theater brings you this reimagining of the classic fairy tale, The Three Little Pigs, as written for radio by Deborah and Percy and Arnold Johnston, and directed by Sarah MacLean. Featured in the cast are Pam Clark, Earlene McMicheal, Michael Waldschlager II, Jen Hebben, Tim Hill, Rick Fontaine, and Jake Burrell.
Once upon a time, long, long ago, well, maybe not so very long ago, in the land of Oinkolia, in the pleasant hamlet of Swankton, a mother and father pig lived in an unassuming but sturdily built cabin on Sty Lane, with their farrow of 3 little piglets. The mother pig was named Porkscilla. Her ears were so attractive they had often been compared to silk purses, and her skill as a vegetarian cook was known throughout the land.
My dear, where are the children?
The father pig was Pigsquale. Pigsquale was a good provider, but confidentially speaking, a bit of a bore.
I'll bore you.
That's what I'm afraid of.
Dear, the children?
I believe the boys are outside jostling at the trough.
The trough? I've told them time and again to eat at the table politely, like their sister Porksia.
Well, my dear, pigs will be pigs.
I won't have it. They need to learn good manners. Suey! Children, why do you insist on eating like a bunch of swine?
The oldest of the 3 piglets was Pigsquale Jr., who was known to all as J.R.
Sorry, Mother, but I was in a rush to get started on my paper route.
The middle child was Piganini, the musical one in the family.
Sorry, Mother, but JR is always such a hog, gulping down his breakfast as if he were a dog. Otherwise, I would be off to catch the morning bus for my piano lessons without a bit of fuss.
You little squealer!
You got to go to market while we had to stay home. You gobbled up Mom's roasted squash. The rest of us got none.
Now, fellows, calm down. Don't get your tails in a twist.
And the youngest of the family was Porksia, a good-mannered and thoughtful little pig who loved to read and whose ears were as silky as her mother's, but who sometimes had a tendency to go wee, 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 when something more articulate might have been called for.
You too, Porksia. Going wee, wee, wee won't get you anywhere.
I know, Mother, but those two can be very frustrating. Whee! I just want to go to the library. Mrs. Owl is holding a book on architecture for me.
Who needs a smelly old book to know how to build something?
Off to your paper route, JR, and leave your sister alone.
And you too, Piganini. Off to your piano lesson with Mr. Badger.
I'm off to catch the bus. Off to learn piano without a bit of fuss.
Goodbye, children. Be careful.
Goodbye, Mother.
See you later.
They're growing up so fast, Pigsquale. Soon they'll be leaving us to make their own homes.
You're right, Mother. We're lucky they're so talented and industrious.
I do worry, though. It's a mother's job.
Meanwhile, not far from Oinkolia, in a gloomy forest, the dark kingdom of Lupercalia was home to Anthony Lupo, a large and clever gray wolf. Anthony, some called him Tony, loved pork in all its forms: chops, loin,
hocks, ears, trotters, tails, knuckles,
sausages, snouts.
especially from a forest vendor, cooked on the spot, smothered in onions and sauerkraut, wrapped in waxed paper, then unwrapped and devoured right there.
Anthony was a lone wolf.
That's me, all right. Lone.
And there was a reason, right, Tony?
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, come on now.
Just because.
First, there was his howl.
Hey, my howl is unique.
That's one way to put it. Let's hear from impartial judges with very sensitive ears.
What do I care about the opinion of Philistines?
Ouch! I give you King Rex of Lupercalia and the beautiful Queen Regina.
Lupo, cease that hideous yowling immediately.
Oh, my dear king and husband, you should outlaw that horrible sound. Oh, my stars, my poor head is throbbing.
But you haven't heard my best work.
Stop that! Out of my sight, or rather out of my ears.
Yes, Your Majesty, at once.
Worse still, Anthony Lupo was a daylight wolf.
Anthony Lupo. Everyone knows wolves are supposed to be nocturnal, prowling the woods, howling at the moon, not waking up people like a rooster.
Yes, Your Majesty. Listen to the children of the night. What music we make!
No, 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 not now. In the deep woods, at night, by the light of the full moon.
Yes, Your Majesty.
As I was saying, prowling the dark woods by night.
But sire, I get sleepy at night. I like to be in bed by sundown and wake up bright and bushy-tailed with the first bright rays of morning.
How appalling!
How ludicrous!
You see, sire, I'm a day wolf. I can't help it.
Can't help it. Balderdash.
It's genetic.
Genetic? Poppycock. No wonder you're a lone wolf. You don't deserve to run with the pack.
Or howl with us.
But us, no buts. Get out of the forest and don't come back until you change your ways.
But
out!
So Tony Lupo, the lone wolf, left the forest.
But, pork butt,
And eventually he found himself in the peaceful land of Oinkolia, not far from the pleasant hamlet of Swankton, where Mother Porksilla Pig...
Did you say pig?
Where Mother Porksilla Pig had just lured her offspring from jostling at the trough by preparing one of her gourmet vegetarian meals.
Isn't that oxymoronic?
I think we all know a moron when we hear one. Now be quiet. Let's get back to the pigs. You'll get your turn in due course.
What I want is a first, second, and third course, and pigs are my favorite.
Quiet!
Children, breakfast is ready. A lovely overnight asparagus and lima bean strata piping hot from the oven.
Wow, lima beans and asparagus. Yum!
No need to jostle. There's plenty for all.
With tofu scramble on the side.
Double wow, my favorite meal, garnished with potato peel.
I got none!
Back off, fellows. Show some respect for your sister.
Show some manners. It's all right, Porksia. I've made another batch.
Thank you, Mother. Wee.
But all was not well in Oinkolia, for Anthony the lone wolf was on the prowl. As soon as the sun was up, he'd hide in whatever shadows he could find and pounce on his unsuspecting prey. Enough. We get the idea. And as the days and months went by, even the threat of becoming a first, second, or third course for the big nasty wolf.
Hey, it's genetic.
So you say. In any case, the happy little family on Sty Lane continued to thrive.
Dear sweet children, lunch is ready. My famous hummus dip, onion confit with olives and peach salsa.
Yum,
Hummus is my
I
favorite.
love onions.
Children, when lunch is over and you're ready to leave the house, remember to be very careful. From what I hear, that big, nasty wolf is still in the vicinity. We're safe here in town and in our fine log cabin, but outside town, who knows what could happen?
Who's afraid of the nasty wolf?
Hey, that's catchy. Who's afraid of the nasty wolf, the nasty wolf, the nasty wolf? Who's afraid of the nasty wolf?
Me, wee.
Your sister's right. Listen to your father.
And as time went on, JR and Piganini each became almost as big a bore as their father.
Hey! It's genetic!
No doubt. And Porksia became as smart and silky-eared as her mother, who taught all three children how to cook, so they would always be able to take care of themselves. But they never lost their taste for Porkscilla's home cooking and baking.
Did you say bacon? Yum!
Baking. Now wait your turn.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming.
Come, children, dinner's ready.
What's on the menu, Mother?
Mashed eggplant with parsnips,
Parsnips. Oh, boy.
carrot, and Brussels sprouts vichyssoise,
Save me some, here I come.
with sautéed green beans and basmati rice, with apple and walnut tart for dessert.
Yum, my favorite.
Mine too.
Say, what is that stuff? It sounds interesting.
Vegetables and fruits and grain.
Yuck.
No one asked your opinion. Now be quiet. Again, time passed. And the day came at last for the three young pigs to make their way in the world.
Dear children, I'm proud of all of you. You're a fine credit to an Oakleyan upbringing, if I do say so myself.
I'm sure you all must have big plans. What do you say, JR?
Well, I thought I'd break open my piggy bank and use the savings from my paper route.
Paper route?
Yes, paper route. Now stop interrupting.
Who died and made you king?
I'm warning you. I'll turn your mic off.
All right. Touchy, touchy.
Now, where were we?
JR was telling us his plans. Go ahead, JR.
Well, I thought I'd stop off at Farmer Hoggington's and buy enough straw to weave into building material for a fine home on the edge of town to catch incoming travelers. Maybe put up a few tables out front for breakfast and feature Mother's strata recipe and pumpkin waffles with maple syrup.
Edge of town. Straw. Seems reasonable so long as you weave the straw good and tight.
As a student of architecture, I'd advise against it.
Maybe your sister has a point.
On her head, I'll be just fine.
I'll help you build it, brother mine. Then your house will turn out fine.
No thanks, Piganini. You stick to your music. I'll handle my own construction.
So JR cracked open his piggy bank and bought a cartload of straw from Farmer Hoggington. The farmer dumped the straw at a nice spot on the edge of town, and JR began building a fine house of woven straw.
Ha! Swine mentality. Just watch this.
Phew, that's a job well done. I'll spend the night in my new house and open for breakfast tomorrow.
So JR rose bright and early the next morning, but just as he began mixing a batch of pancake batter, he heard a noise outside.
My first customer. Who's there?
Hello, JR. It's Anthony Lupo. Come for breakfast at your new establishment. Let me in, you sweet little pork chop.
But when JR peered out through his straw shutters,
You look very furry, Mr. Lupo, and your teeth are very long.
I'm a wild boar from the north. We grow extra hair because of the cold, and our tusks grow long, too. And I need some breakfast. Oink, oink, oink.
Oink! Oink! No pig ever made a sound like that. I know who you are, Mr. Lupo. I'm not about to be your breakfast, fried up and smothered in onions.
You think not? You know-it-all little pork chop. Let me in.
Not by the hair on my chinny chin. What a horrible racket. You're not any better at howling than you are at sounding like a pig.
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down.
Do your worst. Oh, no! Trotters, do your stuff! Mama, Papa, the wolf's after me! Open the door!
That's right, you little porker. Run home to Mommy and Daddy.
My word, JR. What happened?
Apparently, woven straw doesn't make much of a house, especially if it has to be wolf-proof.
Whee! I told you so!
Now, Porksia, that's not very kind.
I've never heard such awful howling. If I were you, I'd stick to growling.
Everyone's a critic. Come on out here. I have a bone to pick with you.
You'd better get out of town, Mr. Wolf, before I raise the alarm. Then you'll find out whose bones get picked.
You haven't seen the last of me.
Well, JR, you've had a narrow escape. Now what?
I don't know, Pop. I lost everything except that nice property on the edge of town, and the tables and chairs still lying there.
Teaching music's made me cash, and I've saved up quite a stash. Here's my plan. I think I should build a house where JR stood.
Not a bad idea. JR could help you.
You bet! And we could live together and set up the tables and chairs out front again. Maybe put up a few umbrellas and serve Mama's delicious recipes for breakfast and lunch.
But you'd have to be sure the new house is sturdy.
We can build it twice as strong. Using wood, we can't go wrong. I'll buy wood that's straight and hard out at Woodman's Lumberyard.
Yay! That's a great idea.
Wee! I'd advise against it.
Snort away and we'll succeed. Just you wait and see.
So despite Porksia's warning, Piganini bought lumber, and he and JR built a fine house.
Well, Piganini, that's a job well done.
You and I are quite a team. Now let us go to sleep and dream of the food we'll soon prepare for travelers from here and there.
But next morning, with the sunrise, Anthony Lupo, the day wolf, was first on the scene.
These little swine don't get any smarter. I smell pork tenderloin, maybe with a little hot sauce. Little pigs, your first customer is here. Let me in. I'm a razorback from Mauritania, and I'm hungry. Oink, oink, oink.
Razorback my eye, you've never seen a sty. My brother knows your voice, will never let you in. Never by the hair upon my chinny chin.
Then your brother knows the drill, you little piggy clown. He knows I'll huff and puff and blow your hovel down. You little porcine muscles, before the clock strikes noon, you'll find your house around your ears and be my breakfast soon.
Yikes! That know-it-all Porksia was right again.
Trotters, do your stuff. Wood isn't strong enough. We'd better head for town before he gulps us down.
And Piganini and JR ran for town as fast as their trotters could trot, with Anthony in hot pursuit.
Mama, Papa, the wolf's after us again. He's hot on our curly tails.
The wood wasn't strong enough when he began to huff and puff. You have to let us in right now or we'll be eaten up.
And how?
You're safe now, dear boys.
Safe? and sound.
Foiled again by the barbecue bait.
Well, children, I'm afraid we haven't seen the last of him.
I thought wolves roamed in packs. Why does he hang around here?
He's a lone wolf. Maybe he's so obnoxious the other wolves don't want him in the pack.
Because he makes that awful sound. Who would want that noise around?
What now, children? Perhaps we're all better off in our little house here in town.
You know, Mama and Papa, I'm not discouraged by my brother's near-death experience. I'd like to take the birthday money I've saved and the money I earned from babysitting and shoveling snow.
Babysitting? Shoveling snow?
Be quiet, you're not even in this scene.
And buy some bricks at the brickyard. Then I'll build a really strong house. Whee! I've studied architecture, you know.
Know it all?
Have a bowl. You won't need our help at all.
Now, boys.
As I was saying, I'd build a house out on the edge of town. If the boys will help me clear up what's left of their places, working together, we can have a real kitchen with a great big fireplace and a great big cooking pot.
For Mama's vegetable soup. And we'll set up the tables and chairs inside.
Whee! With white tablecloths and cloth napkins.
And a menu featuring Mama's fine vegetarian cuisine.
We'll serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This could really be a winner.
Just be sure your house is sturdy this time.
And be careful.
We will.
Whee!
So the three little pigs bought their bricks and built their house according to Porksia's plans. They worked and worked. Until at last their new restaurant with their bedrooms on the upper floor was built as sturdily as anyone could wish.
Whee! Whew! Well, guys, that's a job well done.
I have to admit, Porksia, it looks great.
We thought you were just a pest, but now we see your plan was best.
Thanks, guys. Now we'd better get some sleep, so we'll be ready to open for business tomorrow.
So the three little pigs went to sleep in their new home. And they rose bright and early.
Our first customer!
Let's hope it's not that nasty wolf.
Guys, it's only Mom and Dad. Come to see our piggy pad.
Well, Pop, what do you think?
You and the boys have done a fine job. And here's a housewarming gift, a great big copper-bottomed cooking pot.
Yay!
Let's hang it in our great big fireplace.
That looks just fine.
And I brought a box of my vegetarian recipes to get you started.
Then let's make a big pot of your wonderful veggie soup.
And while Porkscilla, Pigsquale, and their three little pigs busied themselves with soup making, you know who was lurking not far away.
I'm starving. There's no game left to hunt around here except those blasted pigs.
What's that you're chewing on, Anthony?
There's something I found at the root of this tree.
It looks like, why, that's a truffle. Truffles are a great delicacy worth lots of money. And you sniffed it out?
I don't care. I'm desperate. It's meat I need, not money. I want pork, and I know where to get it. Those stupid pigs have been building again. Another flimsy house to blow down. And this time I've stolen a pair of track shoes so they can't run home before I devour them.
Track shoes?
Track shoes.
So Anthony jogged off to the new brick house at the edge of town.
Little pigs, let me come in.
Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin.
Go away, you nasty old wolf.
You're not just dealing with three little pigs, but their mother and father, too.
Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house down and eat the whole lot of you.
Guess again, hairball.
What's this? What's this?
Wee, wee, wee! Huff away, Mr. Wolf. You won't blow this house down. Well, let's get going. We have lots of cooking and baking to do.
Curses! You haven't heard the last of me!
Anthony was at his wits' end, not to mention still hungry, so he hatched a desperate plot.
Hey, don't tell everybody!
Who's the narrator here? As I was saying, he hatched a desperate plot. First, he dug up more delicious truffles. Then he went back to the front door of the new brick house.
I can handle this myself!
Who's there?
It's Anthony Lupo, the wolf.
Go away!
I will. I know when I'm beaten, but I just wanted to leave you a grand opening present. I've been so hungry recently, I've had to eat veggies, and I've even learned to like them. So I dug up some truffles, and I'm dropping them on your doorstep, then leaving forever.
This is some sort of trick.
But truffles, what a delicacy.
Whee! I'll get them quickly.
Wow, a whole bag of truffles.
They'll go well with everything, and they'll make the cash box ring.
While the pigs were occupied with the truffles, Anthony climbed stealthily to the top of the roof and perched on the chimney. But little did he know.
Will you shut up?
Whatever you say.
Boy, will they be surprised.
Well, someone will.
My goodness, what's happening?
It's the wolf, Mother. He's jumped down the chimney into the boiling soup pot.
Serves him right. Whee! That nasty sneak!
Now, sweetheart, look at the poor scalded thing. All of his fur's fallen off.
And look at his tail. It's all twisted up, just like ours.
Maybe he won't act so big. Now he looks just like a pig.
What'll we do with him, Mother?
We should just dump him in the woods and let him suffer. He wanted to eat us.
Now, dear. After all, he did bring us these wonderful truffles. Perhaps if we nurse him back to health, he'll change his ways. What do you say, Father?
Whatever you think, my dear.
So the tender-hearted Porkscilla nursed Anthony back to health. And surprisingly to me anyway, he did change his ways. He completely lost his taste for meat, and with his curly tail and his sparse hair, you might have mistaken him for a strange breed of pig.
Some pig.
After Anthony regained his health, he used his truffle-finding talents to enhance the menu. He even became a waiter at the new Howling Pig restaurant. And his first customers were a young woman named Red Riding Hood and her friend, Woodman.
Good evening, folks. My name is Anthony. I'll be your server today.
My, Anthony, what big eyes you have.
But that, my friends, is another story.
You have been listening to The Three Little Pigs as reimagined for radio by Deborah and Percy and Arnold Johnston. The show was directed by Sarah MacLean, with sound effects provided by Gary Brown and Gray Gruters. Sound engineering was by Lester Batts of Sound Solutions and Martin Clem of Kalamazoo Recording. Music was composed by Hal Hobson Morse and performed by Britt Decker and Deb Phillips. This non-profit performance is copyrighted by All Ears Theater with other rights reserved by the authors. Any resemblance to talking animals, living or dead, or characters, names, places, or incidents is purely coincidental. This is your announcer, Jake Burrell, thanking you for listening tonight and inviting you to visit us again for another All Ears Theater presentation.